Well, folks, the next step is complete. I won't entirety, but you see that little sticker right over there? That sticker means I passed electrical inspection as well. So framing's done, electrical's done. I guess I can go. Here's all the wire run for the lighting fixtures. And then, I've got various switches over here. We've got all of our outlets ran, all the way over to here. I get our outlets all down over here, light switch and more outlets around. And then there's an exterior light, or outlet rather, that's out there. But yeah, that all passed, so no issues there. So basically now I can start final work on this. I obviously can do the vinyl siding on the outside. That's not like a huge deal. I actually, technically, for final inspection, I don't actually have to do the vinyl siding. That's more of an aesthetic thing. But it does help protect the outside, although everything's been through the weather and whatnot, and the zip system's held up fine. But I'll get to that at some point. What I've been doing currently is calculating insulation and seeing what that's going to be like, maybe adding some sort of soundproofing style insulation to the wall to separate the deck from the inside of the house. And then do I want to insulate the roof? I don't have to. I don't have to insulate anything at all. I can just throw up sheetrock and go. But I figure the more insulation I have, the better it will help to make this a more usable room year-round. You'll have the capability to do so by retaining more heat and keeping heat out and things like that. I'm not planning to condition this space. One, because if I make it true condition space, then this becomes actual square footage for the house and we can be taxed on it. So don't want to do that. And I would have to have R, that's heat, resistance kind of value. I don't know what R actually technically stands for, but that's the insulation value. If I wanted to make this a conditioned space, the ceiling would have to be, I think it's R38 is currently the code here, which means the only option I have is closed cell spray foam on the ceiling. But I did go ahead and contact a spray foam contractor to see what the pricing would be. And basically, after talking it out with them, I'm actually going to go with open cell spray foam. It's not for the purposes of conditioning the space, but just to add an extra layer to help keep drafts and everything out. So we're going to do that on the outside walls here, as well as the ceiling. And then we're going to do basically like a mineral wool, sort of a sound dampening insulation here. I was actually going to just do that myself, but it turns out that if I have those folks coming out to do the spray foam, it's actually cheaper for me. It's cheaper for me to have them install it and do that than it would be for me to actually buy the insulation I was going to buy and install it myself. So listen, if it's going to be less money and I don't have to do the labor, I'll take it. So I'm going to get on the books with them and then go ahead and get all of the insulation in here. And then I think I basically have to just chill for 24 hours while they, because it's got all nasty fumes and stuff. Let that happen. And then once the insulation's up, it's time to place the drywall order and start sheetrocking everything. I know I always said, oh, maybe I'll film something, but, a lot of this, I had, I was nervous about being on camera to do this. I don't know why, but drywalling's a piece of cake, and nothing is, you can always fix drywall. So, yeah, we might actually come out here and do, a live stream or something from the deck while we're putting up the drywall. I'll be renting a drywall lift, obviously. This is way too high for me to just hold up by hand, and I don't feel like doing jack stands. And I'm also doing all of the work you see here by myself, pretty much. So, minus a couple instances of someone holding a tape measure or helping me lift something into place. But I'd say 98% of the work on what you see here was all done just by me. So, and you know what? I've been doing pretty well so far. I'm 2 for 2 on inspections. So I'm really excited to wrap this up. Again, I've got till August of this year to finalize everything. So once insulation's in, time to bring in all the drywall. And it's a nice big open space. We can get the drywall and bring it in from the side yard, from the driveway, bring it right in here. So we don't have to worry about maneuvering drywall up and down stairs and stuff. That's always the worst, trying to carry big 4x8 sheets of things down into like a basement or up around corners on stairway landings. So should be nice and easy. We might even be able to go with 4x12 sheets of drywall. And then obviously it'll be sanding, or taping, spackling, sanding, painting, so on. But that's a future Ted problem. So anyway, thank you all again for coming and checking all this out. I realize, again, as I've said, it's not my standard content, but hey, some of you were curious and you like seeing this kind of stuff, so more to come in the near future. I'll see you next time.